The moment you decide to focus on yourself, everything begins to shift. Not in the world outside, but within you. It's easy to get caught up in what everyone else is doing, chasing their pace, reacting to their opinions, competing with their timelines. But that path leads to exhaustion, confusion, and a diluted version of who you truly are. The truth is, your power doesn't lie in reacting. It lies in redirecting. Redirecting your attention from others to yourself. Redirecting your energy from proving to improving. Redirecting your time from pleasing to building. You were never meant to be a copy of someone else's idea of success. You were meant to become the highest version of yourself. And that journey begins in silence through ruthless self-focus. When you begin to turn inward, distractions will scream louder. People will question your distance, doubt your intentions, and misinterpret your silence. But that is not your concern. Their noise cannot interfere unless you allow it. You don't need to explain your absence to those who never cared about your presence. You don't owe an explanation to anyone for choosing yourself. Because the moment you start to focus inward, a new kind of strength emerges, one that isn't built on validation, applause, or approval, one that is forged in solitude, discipline, and consistency. Focus isn't something you stumble upon, it's something you fight for. In a world that rewards noise, it takes courage to remain quiet. In a culture obsessed with attention, it takes strength to stay in your lane. But that's where true power is cultivated, not in distractions, but in devotion. Not in being seen, but in becoming solid. Every minute you spend trying to get others to understand you is a minute lost in building the person you're meant to become. Shift that energy. Reclaim it. Let it fuel your growth, not their opinions. The road of self-focus is not glamorous. It's not always motivating. In fact, it's often lonely. But that loneliness is sacred. It strips you of all that's unnecessary. People who drain you, habits that weaken you, and beliefs that limit you. You are not a flawed person. You have your own purpose and your entry into power. Now, on to the book of Peter, Samuel chapter 3. This is the book of Peter's passage, which conveys the whole concept of selfhoodness to you by James Bauer. Selfhoodness is the process of putting yourself back in the rear so that people drain you. The secret to becoming a person of impact is to put yourself back. What's left is the raw, unfiltered truth of who you are. And from that place, you can rebuild. With intention, with fire, with precision. The work you do on yourself in silence will echo louder than any speech you ever give. Every hour you invest in your craft, your health, your mind, your vision, it compounds. Quietly, patiently, powerfully. And one day, without needing to say a word, the world will feel your presence, not because you shouted, but because you sharpened yourself in silence. Most people never tap into this level of self-mastery because they're addicted to distraction. They're too busy watching others rise instead of working on their own climb. But you are not most people. You've chosen differently. You've chosen the quiet path, the uncomfortable path, the path where no one claps, but everything changes. That path leads to transformation. That path leads to peace. That path leads to a version of you the world has never seen because you were too focused on becoming, not performing. So let them talk. Let them wonder. Let them misunderstand. While they focus on the noise, you focus on your evolution. And in time, the difference will be undeniable. The noise of the world is not just sound. It's pressure. It's the invisible weight of expectations pulling you in every direction except the one that leads inward. From the moment you wake up, you're bombarded by opinions, notifications, trends, comparisons, judgments. The world tells you how to look, what to want, who to become. And if you're not careful, that noise becomes your internal dialogue. You start to measure your worth by how quickly you respond, how many people approve, how closely you align with what's popular. But real power, the kind that lasts, is found in the stillness, not in the static. It's in the ability to detach from all that noise and hear your own thoughts clearly. Distractions are everywhere, and they disguise themselves as productivity, opportunity, or even connection. But not every opportunity is aligned with your purpose. Not every conversation deserves your time. Not every trend is worth chasing. Most people are stuck in an endless loop of reacting to trends, to messages, to expectations. But winners don't react, they create. And creation doesn't come from chaos, it comes from clarity. And clarity only comes when you silence the noise long enough to hear the whisper of your own inner voice. That voice doesn't shout, it doesn't beg for attention. It waits patiently for you to listen, for you to return to yourself. You don't need to be everywhere. You don't need to please everyone. The more you spread yourself thin trying to be everything to everyone, the more you lose the essence of who you are. Protect your mind like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. What you allow in shapes what comes out. If you consume noise, you'll produce confusion. If you consume clarity, you'll produce greatness. So take a step back. Turn down the volume of the world, log out, tune in, create space for silence, because within that silence is the blueprint for your next level. Let others chase popularity, you chase peace. Let others chase noise, you chase purpose, because at the end of the day, it's not who was the loudest that wins, it's who stayed focused, grounded, and aligned. Silence is often misunderstood. People think silence means doing nothing, being passive, or avoiding challenges, but in truth, silence is where the deepest work takes place. Silence is not weakness, it's the foundation of strength. It's in the quiet that you meet yourself without masks, without distractions, without the world's noise clouding your vision. It's where your real thoughts, real desires, and real fears rise to the surface. And facing them is not easy. It takes courage to confront your own reflection without flinching, but only in that confrontation does true power begin to grow. When you train in silence, you build discipline. When no one is watching, when there's no applause, no reward, and yet you still choose to show up, something shifts inside of you. That is where resilience is formed. It's easy to perform when the spotlight is on. It's easy to act strong when others are clapping, but true strength is born when there's no audience, no recognition, and no applause. Only you, your goals, and your decision to keep going. In that space, you become unshakable. You stop relying on external motivation because you've cultivated something far more powerful, internal commitment. Silence is not just about staying quiet. It's about being intentional with your energy. It means not wasting time defending your path. It means not reacting to every critic or explaining every move. It means you've chosen to protect your peace over proving a point. The strongest people don't announce every move. They build in silence and let results do the talking. While others are busy talking about what they'll do, you're already doing it. While they post their plans, you're building yours. And when your moment comes, they'll wonder how you did it. But you'll know. You did it through discipline, through sacrifice, through silence. The real war is not out there, it's within you. It's not about proving anything to the world. It's about conquering your inner resistance, your fears, your insecurities, and your excuses. The greatest enemy you'll ever face is the one that whispers in your own mind. The voice that says you're not good enough, that it's too late, that you don't have what it takes. That voice doesn't disappear on its own. It has to be silenced by action, by courage, by discipline. Every day you wake up with a choice to give in to the comfort of mediocrity or to step into the discomfort of growth. And that choice defines everything. Winning silently means showing up when you don't feel like it. It means pushing through when your mind tells you to quit. It means choosing self-discipline over self-indulgence, purpose over pleasure, progress over procrastination, And these battles are invisible to everyone else. No one sees the inner war you fight to wake up early, to stay focused, to say no to distractions. But you see it, you feel it. And every time you win that battle, you become stronger, not just mentally, but spiritually. Because when you conquer your mind, you gain control over your life. This is the war most people avoid because it's not glamorous. There's no medal for silently overcoming your own laziness, no applause for resisting temptation, no recognition for choosing growth when it's hard. But the rewards are real. You become sharper, more grounded, more dangerous. In the best way, you stop being thrown around by life because you've built stability within. You no longer fear failure or judgment because you know what it took just to get here. And that's why winning in silence is so powerful. It's not about the world seeing you rise. It's about you knowing that you fought for it, that you earned it, and that nothing and no one can take it from you. You don't need to explain yourself. You don't need to justify your distance, your silence, your focus, or your evolution. The more energy you waste trying to convince others of your worth, the less you have to invest in actually building it. Stop explaining. Start evolving. Because when you truly commit to growth, you understand that validation is a trap. The need to be understood, to be liked, to be accepted. These are chains that keep you stuck. The moment you stop chasing approval is the moment you start gaining power. Power over your mind, power over your choices, power over your direction. Explaining yourself dilutes your momentum. When you share your goals with people who don't have your vision, you invite unnecessary opinions. When you reveal your plans too early, you expose them to the energy of doubt, criticism, and distraction. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. Not everyone is equipped to understand your path, and they don't need to be, because you're not doing this for applause. You're doing it for transformation. You're doing it for freedom. You're doing it for the version of yourself that only you can see right now. Growth is personal, it's private, it's sacred, and it doesn't need to be announced. Let your evolution be silent, and your success be loud. Let people wonder where you went, what you're doing, how you changed. Let the results speak in a language they can't ignore, because when the work is real, the results will make the noise. Every second you spend trying to explain yourself is a second lost from becoming who you're meant to be. Protect your energy. Stay quiet. Stay locked in. The world will see when it's time. Until then, let them underestimate you. Let them doubt. And while they talk, you build. While they question, you transform. While they wait, you win. Quietly, relentlessly, without saying a word. Growth doesn't happen under the spotlight. It happens when no one is watching. When the world is asleep and you're still grinding. When there's no recognition, no praise, no immediate reward. Just you and your decision to keep pushing forward. That's when true growth takes root. It's in the silence, the stillness, the solitude, where the real work begins. Not the kind of work that others can see or applaud, but the kind that rewires your mind, reshapes your habits, and rebuilds your character from the inside out. It's not glamorous, but it's sacred. It's not loud, but it's powerful. Because transformation is a private process. It doesn't seek attention, it seeks depth. Every great achievement you admire was born in a hidden season of quiet preparation. Behind every success story is 1,000 silent moments of doubt, discipline, and decision. But most people don't see that part. They see the result, not the routine. They see the outcome, not the process. And that's why many give up. They expect immediate results from work that requires consistent, silent sacrifice. But not you. You understand that progress is not always visible, but it's always building, day by day, brick by brick, repetition after repetition. You don't wait for motivation. You create momentum. You don't ask for permission. You give yourself the command to move. The most important breakthroughs don't happen in the crowd. They happen in solitude, when you're alone with your thoughts, when you confront the truth about your habits, your mindset, your limitation. That's when you start to evolve. That's when you start to separate from the masses, because while most are chasing shortcuts, you're building a foundation. While they wait for the perfect moment, you're creating progress in imperfect conditions. Keep going, even when it feels slow, even when no one notices, because one day your quiet work will roar, and those who once overlooked you will wonder how you did it. The answer will be simple. You grew in silence, and you never stopped. Your vision is sacred. It's the seed of your future, the blueprint of who you're becoming, but not everyone deserves access to that vision. When you share your goals too soon or too widely, you open the door to interference, opinions, doubt, jealousy, and energy that doesn't align with your mission. That's why silence is not just wise, it's necessary. Not because you're hiding, but because you're protecting. Some things must grow in the dark before they can thrive in the light. Just like roots grow underground before a tree breaks the surface, your dreams need space, time, and privacy to build strength before they're revealed. There's a reason why powerful people move quietly. It's not out of fear, it's out of strategy. When your goals are exposed, they become vulnerable to criticism, ridicule, and sabotage. Even well-meaning people can damage your momentum by projecting their own limitations onto your ambition. They'll say it's unrealistic, too big, too fast, or not worth it. And if you're not rooted deeply enough, those voices can shake your belief. That's why your vision must be protected with silence until it's too real, too strong, and too far along to be stopped by doubt. Let your actions whisper your intentions. Let your consistency reveal your commitment. There is power in being underestimated. There is freedom in moving without the pressure of expectations. When you build quietly, you build without noise, without ego, without needing applause. And that makes your growth pure. You stay focused on the process instead of the perception. You fall in love with the journey instead of the attention. And that's when the magic happens. That's when real change begins. So protect your vision like a fire, shield it from the wind, feed it with belief, and let it burn bright enough to light your way forward. In silence, your vision becomes unstoppable. Success doesn't crave the spotlight, it craves focus. It's not attracted to those who constantly seek attention, but to those who quietly master their craft, discipline their mind, and respect their time. Privacy isn't about secrecy, it's about strategy. When you keep your progress private, you maintain control, you protect your momentum, you guard your peace. Because success loves privacy, not because it's hiding, but because it's working. It thrives in environments where energy isn't wasted on explaining, defending, or competing. It grows best in silence, in discipline, in relentless self-investment. In a world obsessed with posting every move, showing every move, and performing every effort, privacy becomes a superpower. The moment you realize you don't need to announce everything is the moment you free yourself from the chains of validation. You're no longer chasing the high of likes, approval, or applause. You're chasing mastery, and mastery requires isolation. It requires solitude. It requires building when no one's watching, improving when no one's cheering, and believing when no one else understands. When your goals are private, the pressure to perform disappears. You get to focus on real progress, not perceived perfection. Keeping your journey private doesn't make it less valuable. In fact, it makes it more potent. Because when no one is watching, you're free to fail without shame, to adjust without judgment, and to evolve without interference. You can take risks, make mistakes, and grow without the noise of public opinion clouding your path. You don't owe anyone a status update on your evolution. Let your work speak. Let your results announce your presence. And when the time comes, your transformation will be undeniable. Not because you talked about it, but because you lived it. Success moves differently when it's not for show, and so should you. Elevation doesn't need an announcement. When you're serious about your growth, you stop broadcasting every step. You stop needing to be seen climbing and start focusing on the climb itself. The people who truly rise to the top are the ones who don't waste time explaining their moves. They make their moves in silence and let the outcome speak volumes. You don't need to declare what you're about to do, just do it. Let your discipline be louder than your words. Let your transformation shock the very people who doubted your ability to change. There's unmatched power in being underestimated. When others don't see your rise coming, you're free to work without interference. You don't face unnecessary resistance. You don't carry the weight of expectation. And you don't have to explain yourself every step of the way. You move differently when you know what you're building is rooted in real purpose. You grow differently when your focus isn't diluted by the need to impress. Silence gives you that space. It gives you the room to develop, to fail, to adjust, and to grow without judgment. And when you emerge, you don't just arrive, you arrive with impact. People won't understand why you disappeared, why you stopped sharing, or why you became distant. But the silence that confused them is the same silence that refined you. While they were watching others, you were watching your thoughts. While they were talking about dreams, you were building yours. And when you finally show up with undeniable growth, they'll call it overnight success. But you'll know the truth. It wasn't overnight. It was every silent morning, every unnoticed sacrifice, every quiet decision to keep going. You didn't elevate to be seen, you elevated to become. And when you shock the world, it won't be because you shouted. It will be because you moved in silence and built something unstoppable. There's something powerful that happens when you learn to enjoy your own company. In a world that constantly pulls your attention outward toward social media, shallow conversations, and endless distractions, solitude becomes a sanctuary. It's where your thoughts become clearer, your direction becomes sharper, and your connection to self becomes stronger. Most people run from solitude because it forces them to face themselves. It strips away the noise and reveals the truth about who they are, what they believe, and where they're headed. But if you have the courage to stay with yourself in that silence, you'll find answers no one else can give you. Solitude is where clarity is born. It's where you sort through the confusion of the world and reconnect with your original purpose. When you're alone, no one's projecting their fears onto you. No one's setting limits for you. No one's distracting you from your mission. You start to think your own thoughts. You begin to hear your intuition speak. And with each moment of quiet, your sense of direction becomes less influenced by trends and more aligned with truth. This is where real confidence grows. Not the fake, loud kind, but the quiet confidence that comes from knowing exactly who you are and what you're here to do. The more time you spend in solitude, the more you realize how little you need the external world to feel whole. You stop craving attention. You stop chasing approval. You stop waiting for someone else to believe in you. You start trusting yourself. And that self-trust becomes the foundation for everything else. You become your own motivation, your own guide, your own source of strength. That's when your decisions become bolder, your movements become more intentional, and your path becomes unstoppable. Solitude isn't loneliness, it's self-mastery. And once you become addicted to that level of clarity, peace, and power, you'll never trade it for noise again. There comes a moment in your journey where everything clicks. Not because the world changes, but because you do. You stop waiting, you stop hesitating, you stop explaining, you become focused, silent, and unstoppable. This state isn't something you stumble into. It's something you earn through every act of discipline, every hour of consistency, and every sacrifice made in silence. The world may not notice the changes at first, but you feel them. You move differently. You think differently. You no longer seek external motivation because something stronger now fuels you. Inner purpose. This level of focus makes you dangerous, not in a reckless way, but in a grounded, unshakable way. You become the type of person who doesn't need permission to pursue their vision. You no longer flinch when life gets hard. You've already built your strength in the dark. You've trained your mind to operate with precision. You've taught yourself to keep going, even when no one's watching, even when the world is silent. And now that silence no longer scares you, it empowers you, because you know exactly who you are in it. You're not here to prove anyone wrong. You're not here to convince the world of your worth. You're here to fulfill a mission. You're here to rise, not for the applause, but for the alignment. You're here to win, not through noise, but through focus. This is how unstoppable people are made, not by being loud, not by being seen, but by becoming unmovable in their purpose. Let others rush. Let others perform. You move with intention. You rise in silence. And when you arrive, it won't be luck or hype. It will be the result of everything you've built, quietly, patiently, powerfully. Stay focused, stay silent, keep building. Because once you master that, nothing can stop you.